4, 3, 2, 1. Skip one. One more. And minute full.
This is Action Newsjax special coverage.
35 is up, my John.
All right, a live look at Jacksonville Beach, the shortened pier, courtesy of Matthew and Irma. Still getting sloshed with a pretty good set of waves there right now. Again, we are seeing the worst of Dorian move past us right now, but still pretty active beach. It's not just the river and the ocean feeling Dorian's impact either. The deep creek in Hastings got deeper thanks to Dorian. As you can see, it crept up close to that top of that bridge. One truck pulling a stalled truck in the high water at St. Augustine. Look at that.
Give me a center, two-shot center.
Truck pulls that white truck behind it, getting along just fine. This is special coverage of Hurricane Dorian on CBS 47, Fox 30 Action News Jax at 6. I'm John Bachman.
I'm Tanika Hughes. Here is the very latest. Evacuation orders, curfews, and bans on alcohol sales in Duval County will be lifted at 7 o'clock tonight. Dorian is a Category 2 hurricane with winds over 100 miles an hour, and right now it's passing Jacksonville's latitude. It's heading north, and its effects will soon begin tapering off for us here in Northeast Florida. Action News Jax has complete live team coverage with our crews stretched from Southeast Georgia to spots all over Northeast Florida. Let's begin now with Action News Jax First Alert Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
And things are calming down even at the coast from a rainfall standpoint, but the winds are still howling. We had Ben Becker out there just a little bit earlier.
Benjamin, you're up next after we're done with weather, so
and I'll bet you Ben's going to say,
hey, yeah,
it is still really blowing here. And so heavy band of showers on the back edge here is cutting through Duval into St. Johns County. Otherwise, we're looking at the main area of very heavy rain, and there's a lot of it closer to the eye of the hurricane as it moves off generally northwest. Let's take this full, and then we'll take a look at this circulation as it's moving on to the northwest, about 9 to 10 miles per hour or so. And the eye very evident, about 55 miles across, pretty large eye. There's been a slight intensification this afternoon. We had winds down to 105 miles per hour, now at about 110 miles per hour, but far enough offshore so that there will be and have been no hurricane force winds in our area, and so far no confirmed hurricane force wind gusts. Did get a few tropical sustained force winds at the beaches, not downtown as expected, and so the bridges were able to stay open. All of southeastern Georgia, for the most part, has gone dry west of I-95. There's one heavy shower that's just moved through Homerville that'll be dropping southward. There's a little bit of rain left around Brunswick and St. Simon's Island and around Folkestone, not much to that. And most of northeastern Florida is dry, except for parts of Nassau, Duval, and St. Johns County in particular, just catching northeastern Clay County around Fleming Island. We have some heavier showers, and these are diving to the south and east at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. Still produce some brief heavy rain and some gusty winds too. We're talking about wind gusts in here on the order of about 40 and 50 miles per hour when you get into these showers. I'm going to zoom you right on into Duval County here. The showers extending from about Switzerland right on up through Julington Creek and then up to about the Buckman Bridge. As you can see here, there's Orange Park getting in some heavier rain, the southwest beltway of Interstate 295, and then just southwest of downtown. This is a pretty decent little shower here from Post Street, street level mapping here, to Cassett Avenue, down to Roosevelt Boulevard and Blanding as well. Very heavy rain. We'll dive right down Highway 17, but it doesn't last very long. Just expect some higher winds and some of that heavier rain. Speaking of the wind, still blowing out there, Stacy.
It's still blowing pretty good, and generally we're seeing winds out of the north and west across Duval County. A sustained wind now at the south side at 28 miles per hour, even higher at Mayport. Sustained wind at 31 miles per hour, gusting there currently to 51 miles per hour. So you can see where we've got that red coloring there, we've got gusts into the lower 50s, gusting to about 37 miles per hour there in the south side. Gusts elsewhere about 32 miles per hour still in St. Augustine. Gusts also above 30 miles per hour in Brunswick, but notice Waycross, Palatka, you're gusting only into the 20s. Mike?
And you get far enough west, and Lake City's not even reporting a wind gust because they're so far away from the hurricane.
Probably a minute away from you.
Impacts when you get west of Highway 301 for the most part. So, in summary, this afternoon and this evening and overnight, windy tonight, especially at the beaches. Still wind gusts 40, 50 miles per per hour. There may be still some sporadic power outages and down trees and branches, but the winds let up a great deal the more inland you go. Evening showers from about I-95 to the coast will be diminishing from west to east
could be very soon, Ben.
evening, and there won't be a whole lot of additional total rainfall, even though we have those downpours right now moving through parts of the I-95 corridor of Duval and parts of Clay and St. Johns County. And tomorrow turns sunny and hot.
We're good to go with Ben.
In fact, some really hot temperatures as we head over the next few days. I'll have that first alert forecast along with Stacy.
Stand by,
in
Ben.
a few minutes.
All right, Action News Jax, Ben Becker live in Jacksonville Beach. And
Tossing you,
I
Ben.
mentioned the wind. Ben, still windy out there, but the tide has moved away from shore.
Mike, you.
John, that's right. You know, still windy, still rough surf, as you can see behind me here. The surf still pounding the pier. Jax Beach has it's been doing for much of the day, and you see over here.
Straight live,
right,
2 shot will be
next.
next. You can give me the.
I've been talking to more people out here, and you know, these surfers. These are guys that, you know, they're out here all the time. They know exactly. Well, they're supposed to know exactly what they're doing as they go towards the pier. That's supposed to be the way you're supposed to do it out here. That's the sort of the indication that these guys know what they're doing. Regardless of that, as you come out here, you know, Dorian attracts a crowd, right? You see all these people out here. I'd say there's hundreds of people here at Jax Beach. It's like an event. It's like a party. It's a festival here at Jax Beach. You wouldn't have known that, you know, there was a huge hurricane that was sitting off the coast that could have really been bad news for us. But people are taking the opportunity to come out here and have a good time, talk to each other, look at the ocean, see how things are. You know, and that's, you know, and also they've been kind of cooped up all day, right? People have cabin fever. They just want to be able to come out and see this thing for themselves, right? Now, sir, you look like somebody who's had a bunch of kids with them all day. You're just dying to get out of the house.
Yes.
That sums it up, right?
Yes.
So when you got the news that school is opening on Friday, you thought what?
I still have to go to work.
But yeah, but for the kids.
Oh, great for them.
Right.
Yeah, they get to come out here. They get to see a beautiful experience of Mother Nature in its fullness. It's something that needs to be mesmerized, but also revered in its fullness. But something that is also going to be, I don't know what the right word is.
It kind of leaves you speechless. Right. Well, thank you, sir. Right, I appreciate that. So one other thing I just want to leave you with, all these people out here with a bird's eye view. Well, I want to show you here, these birds
Stand by, Russell. Ben's wrapping
have
up
the
pretty
best
soon.
view. Maybe the smartest things out here. Reporting live from Jax Beach.
Stand by, Michael Bell,
Fox
Fox
47, Fox 30. Action News Jax.
Listen, these Terrence are so stir crazy with
Russell,
the kids
you're
being
up next.
around. He's like, good for the kids.
Russell's
He's
next.
having a hard time with words.
Don't have his video
Out of
yet.
his mouth, but Duval is back open.
Yeah.
Friday.
Looks like it might
a lot of
be
schools are
coming.
opening in our area. You can go to
yeah, it's
actionnewsjax.com for that.
Absolutely. St. Johns County, of course, got hit first as Dorian moved from south to north and is seeing the flooding recede first as well.
Action News Jax Russell Colburn is in the First Alert Storm
Mini.
Tracker. He's been driving around
37.
St. Johns County. Are you still in Davis Shores?
Mike, you.
Actually, we decided to go south on US 1. We hadn't been on this side of town yet, but I can tell you a lot of people are venturing out just to see, I guess, to check on their businesses, property, homes, that kind of thing. We're trying to find some restaurants and businesses open for some of you. We haven't really found anything just yet. Oh, here we come to a stoplight, excuse me.
Lorena,
even the First Alert
next.
Storm Tracker hit stoplights, but that's okay. We have some images ready for you of the Davis Shores area where the rainwater and the flooding were added up to about 3 feet in some spots, specifically at Aracola and Coquina right there. That area that's prone to flooding that got hammered during Hurricanes Matthew and Irma. We introduced you a little bit ago to the woman who plastic wrapped her home. She said she did just fine. We did see some water that may have trickled into some homes over there, but for the most part, it seems like everyone did okay.
Cool.
And we were over there in the last hour or so. The water was receding. It really got bad at high tide around 1:30 this afternoon to 2 o'clock that time, but seems to have gone down since then. So that's the last thing those people needed was another just day of being inundated with flood water. So good to see those waters down, and good to see life starting to get back to normal here in St. Johns County as far as people getting back on the road, looking for things to do. So as soon as we come across some restaurants,
next on 3. Lorena's next
on Twitter at Russell A. and Jax. Live in St. Augustine.
Mike, how long are you going to want for
CBS
weather?
37 Fox 30. Action News Jax.
Action News Jax. Lorena Inkland joins us now in Volano Beach, where they've made a lot of improvement in a short amount of time.
Mini 33.
They really
Russell,
have, Tanika. It's impressive how quickly FDOT crews were able to block that up. And look at how nicely they were able to do it, though, with all those sandbags there. And now both lanes are open. This is clear, and traffic is back to normal. As you can see, first they opened up the southbound lane, and just a short time before I went live here with you, they opened up the northbound lanes, and all the crews were able to leave. But take a look at the remnants, or the aftermath of this. Look how far back the water got as it was pushing in here during that high tide cycle there. So this area, as we had been showing you in some of these other live shots, it was filled with debris. It got pretty ugly here at one point, where the water was really rushing over the dunes here. But now we are back to, I guess you could say, back to normal. Still some debris on the sides here, but both lanes are back open. A lot of people relieved.
Say again,
and as I mentioned, I spoke to one of the FDOT crew members as they were out here, and they were telling me that they'll take this any day over what Matthew brought. A lot of us were here for that, and we know it was definitely much worse in terms of flooding and that kind of thing. But thankfully they were able to patch that up, and then we'll see. I'll be following up here in St. Johns County to see what they're going to do with this section right here, because there's not much protection from the ocean in this area. So I'll definitely be following up with some of the leaders here in St. Johns County, and we'll keep you posted what they say on that. For now, back to you guys in the studio.
Here we go. All right, Lorena, thank you very much. Action News Jax Bridget Matter is in St. Augustine Beach checking on erosion there. Bridget.
Mini 31.
Hey, John, we've been here throughout the day today. We were monitoring that erosion. Now that the tide has gone out, we can really see just how much was eaten away. This is that mound that we had watched throughout the storm today, and it gives you a good look. This was a lot higher. We showed it to you. It came up to about my shoulder.
Next,
now
going
that's
to
all
Brittany
gone.
Verner,
If we pan over
38.
this way, remember all that pooling that we had?
She has
all
boots
that
on.
sand there looks like it's gone as well. There are a lot of people that are out here today. They probably wanted to come out here just to see what it looks like. We'll give you a look at the ocean as well. Still looks a little angry, but it's not as bad. There are a few surfers that are out. I don't know if we can see them if you pan over to the right there. There's a couple surfers that are out in the water. There's a lot of people here. We see a guy with a metal detector. Mike Burrish mentioned that earlier today, saying that once the tide goes back in, that people would come out, and he's right. There's people that are searching for something out here. But we're going to have to see what's going to be done now for the beaches, because a lot of it was taken away here in St. Augustine, and what's going to happen if another storm comes in. There's a lot of sand that was taken away, so that's going to be a question that we'll be asking in the next few days. For now, we're live in St. Augustine Beach. Bridget Matters, CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
And Action News Jax, Brittany Verner is in St. Johns County as well. Looking at the flooding in Summer Haven.
Mini 38.
You, Britt.
And right now, where I'm standing, we showed you this area early today. There was so much water that my boots were covered on the sidewalk. You can see right now it's not as much water, but we're going to show you what it looked like earlier today. Take a look at this footage from earlier. This is how much water it was here. It was being spilled over from the Atlantic. At one point, sheriff's deputies were not letting cars through here because of the water, and likely because of the intense wind gusts in the area. That water has since receded, and things are
this is fine. I'll just put a keyer up.
We're going to take another live look here. We're showing you the trailer that I was showing you earlier today. There was water up past the middle of the tire there, and that is now gone. We also
two
spoke
shots
with some
next.
people
You
in
give
the
me
area
the
who
center
had
band
to evacuate because of this storm, but they returned to their homes earlier this evening, and we're going to let you hear more from them coming up later on Action News Jax. Reporting live in St. Johns County, Brittany Verner, CBS 47, Fox 30. Action News Jax.
And we've also been watching the conditions up in Georgia, and a note for drivers in Camden County. The Dark Entry Creek Bridge on Highway 40 in St. Mary's between the Shadow Lawn subdivision and Winn-Dixie is closed because of high water there.
That's right. Action News Jax Amber Kriska also in Georgia. She's at St. Simon's Island. She's been monitoring the situation there as Dorian moves north of Jacksonville past that part of our viewing area as well.
Amber.
Yeah, and John, things have actually kind of calmed down here. You can see the waves aren't as huge, and actually, my first live report out here, the water was just splashing against these rocks that has receded quite a bit. And if you look over there to your right, I can actually see some lighter skies, which is kind of nice to see because I haven't seen any light skies today. Now, there is a light rain out here. We haven't really seen too much rain out here. The winds kind of just come and go, but that's something the emergency management director tells me he's still concerned about, the strong winds, and he said that's already been kind of an issue throughout the day. They had some power outages here in Glenn County as well. As some minor damage, he did say a huge sign fell on top of a car, but thankfully no one was hurt. He also said that they're still encouraging people to stay inside and to be safe and wait out this storm because of some strong winds out here that could potentially be out here. He said that curfew is still in place. That's for St. Simon's Island and people living east of I-95. So that curfew starts at 10 tonight and will last until 6 tomorrow morning. But they will be going out tonight and early into the morning hours, going around Glenn County and checking for any kind of damage. But right now we are seeing some kind of calmer conditions out here. The waves aren't as big out here, and we are seeing some lighter skies out here, which is nice to see. And the rain is not too bad out here, as well as the wind. Reporting live in St. Simon's Island, Amber Kriska, CBS 47 Fox 30, Action News JAX.
All right, Action News JAX. Christy Turner now is live in downtown Jacksonville, where she just spoke to the mayor.
32.
Cue Christy.
And we just got an update from the mayor within the last 15 minutes or so. Jacksonville Mayor Lenny Curry says it's been an exhausting week preparing for Hurricane Dorian, but he says the city fared pretty well. No major damage or flooding to report in Jacksonville. They are still encouraging people to stay out of the water at the beaches.
You doing Bahamas or are you doing weather?
And the ban on alcohol sales are being lifted. So we'll start to see things getting back to normal at the beaches and all over Jacksonville. Overall, the mayor says we dodged a big one with Hurricane Dorian. He says the damage doesn't even compare to what we saw during Hurricane Matthew and Hurricane Irma, though he did say it is still early in hurricane season, so he doesn't want anyone to let their guard down the rest of hurricane season. But the good news is things are looking pretty good in Jacksonville. Reporting live in downtown Jacksonville, Christy Turner, CBS 47 Fox 30 Action News JAX.
We most certainly dodged a big one. Unfortunately, the Bahamas did not. The Bahamas got the big one, and it hit them directly for more than a full day. Category 5 hurricane just pounding the Bahamas, and devastating scene after devastating scene with the video we're getting now.
And some people are still waiting to be rescued, waiting for some kind of medical treatment to be flown out of there, because Grand Bahama Island is basically underwater. We know the U.S. Coast Guard has been a part of those rescue missions. David Begnaud has a story now from Bahamas.
And pack on 2.
The extent of Dorian's destruction across the northern Bahamas is immense.
Cool. Thank you very much.
From the air, flying over Abaco Island, the damage stretches for miles.
Out the weather next, it will be Meniful and both Stacy and Bursch in the Weather Center.
Shipping containers and boats.
Our only options everybody else has got.
Some airports look like lakes now. This is the terminal of one of them, shrouded in debris. The Red Cross estimates nearly 99% of people living in Grand Bahama and Abaco Islands are in need of some kind of assistance. Food, water, something.
We are in the midst of one of the greatest national crises in our country's history.
The U.S. Coast Guard has rescued dozens of people, deploying helicopters to several regions in the area. Many more victims are stranded in some of the hardest hit areas.
We're just starting to get a site picture on Grand Bahama Island in Freeport. We're rendering, life-saving support here, humanitarian assistance.
People have been using boats and jet skis, even inflatable toys, to ferry other people to safety. Tim Allen, a journalist working with the Associated Press, filmed himself and his family abandoning their home in Freeport. His daughter is seen wading through life-threatening storm surge, carrying one of their animals.
20.
Relief aid from around the world is starting to arrive, and it's being staged in Nassau, which was not affected by the hurricane. The government is doing everything it can to get food and water to people who are desperate and have nothing else but hope.
Stand by,
David Begnaud, CBS News, Nassau.
Hey, Meniful.
Now certified Jacksonville's most accurate weather forecast. Action News JAX first alert weather.
Hey, Micah,
so devastating, Stacy. Hurricane Dorian in the northwestern Bahamas, and that cleanup's going to obviously take a long time, search and rescue. And Dorian Not anywhere near that intensity now, but still a broad and wide hurricane, a Category 2, and no such thing as just a. You hear us say that a lot. It's still a significant storm.
Well, exactly. I mean, the winds were actually down to 105 miles per hour. They increased in the latest update, too. So that shows you Hurricane Dorian's not quite done yet.
Yeah, Dorian doesn't want to give up the fight. 100-plus miles off of our shore.
Guys, what's
That's
the length of Liz's Davis Shores package?
A break because Matthew was about half that, about 50 miles, in some cases even 40 miles offshore. So Dorian now headed away. Winds at 110 miles per hour. It is moving to the north-northwest at about 9 miles per hour. And the track is going to continue to be up toward the Carolinas. That's going to be the big story now over the next couple of days as far as the southeast coast of the U.S.
Give me the blank background. I'll take John Tye Tetra.
A good question a little earlier today when we were talking about Dorian coverage is the difference between something like this and radar when it comes to those colors. Well, the colors on the satellite map, this is showing temperatures in the upper levels at the tops of the clouds. The higher the cloud tops, the brighter the clouds. The brighter the colors. So that's what we're seeing here, are just simply the temperatures of those cloud tops. Radar, on the other hand, which I'll show you in a moment, is simply rain right here at the surface, at the ground level. This is way up in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and you can see those clouds extend all the way back through a good part of the southeast half of Georgia and much of the northeastern half of Florida. The track will be up to very near Charleston later tomorrow, and then skirting right along the Carolina coast, if not making landfall, very, very close, and then on up to the outer banks here of North Carolina as we head through Friday. So the Dorian is leaving the scene, so to speak, and that leaves us with a Thursday with an opportunity to do just about anything you really need to. If you're headed back to work, kiddos will be out of school, and the beaches are almost certainly going to be packed tomorrow. It'll be an offshore wind. It will be a clean serve. Go to the grocery store tomorrow, no problem. Traveling, driving on local roads and highways and interstates, going to the bank, the gas stations, running errands. Airports should be up and running. We are in good shape following the hurricane now as moves on away with Dorian now headed off to the north and to the northeast, right in the middle of the picture here. But folks, we've got a very busy Atlantic basin. We just had Tropical Storm Ferdinand move on into Mexico, and now in the process of weakening rapidly with mountainous terrain there. We have a disturbance in the central part of the Atlantic. This has the potential to develop, but it's going to head more northward. We already have Gabrielle. It's been upgraded over the eastern Atlantic. That too, however, sneaking away to the northwest, that stays out over the Atlantic. We do have a strong tropical wave coming off the coast of Africa with the potential for development, but that is a long ways away. And the early indications are that this would just sort of limp its way across the Atlantic for a while, if you will, for the next 10 days or so. The point is, over the next week or so, no threat from the tropics as far as the U.S. is concerned, and certainly not locally for Jacksonville, northeast Florida, and southeast Georgia. There's the eye of the hurricane, some 55 miles across, but well offshore, and the heaviest rain is staying offshore, too, on 5-sweep First Alert Doppler HD, though we do have some heavy showers from the south side of Jacksonville right down into western St. Johns County. These are racing off to the south and to the southeast, so moving into Ridgewood now over the next couple of minutes. Some heavy rain along the St. Johns River, the Shands Bridge, Green Cove Springs, right down to Piccolata, southwestern St. Johns County around Hastings, and this will head southeastbound toward parts of Flagler County into Gopher Ridge at 6:23 and Myrtle Island by about 6:27. And then coastal areas of Georgia, still some light rain from Brunswick and Jekyll Island down to near and just east of St. Mary's. But this won't be lasting a whole lot longer. Every once in a while, one of these heavier bands will try to move in. But for the most part, it's just light rain now in extreme southeastern portions of Georgia. And the rest of the area, when you get west of I-95, for all intents and purposes, it's dry and just simply a breezy, warm evening. You get closer to I-95 and the coast, it's still windy. The airport gusting to 30 miles per hour. Look at Mayport, gusting to 50-plus miles per hour, and St. Augustine with gusts at 2 up to and above 30 miles per hour. So Stacy, still very rough out there at Jack's Beach, our First Alert Skycam network, but at least the water from the high tide from earlier today headed back out toward low tide.
And then a
you can really see that too, where the water was all the way up here to the dunes, so that is coming back out just a little bit. You mentioned the winds. You can still see the camera bouncing around quite a bit there. And we do have that wind out of the northwest at 31 miles per hour, 78 degrees is that current temp. Let's get to your boating forecast because we have those those offshore winds tomorrow at about 15 to 20 knots as we head into the afternoon. Some of those winds will still be a lot stronger in the early morning hours just because of the location of Hurricane Dorian. It will be pulling away from our coast, but windy in the morning. Winds really relaxing, though, by tomorrow evening. Seas still at about 5 to 10 feet, so we will
can pull one in. I mean, we'll
take
it.
Surf for those surfers. Again, as
never going to
Chief
deny a copyright.
Mike Bursch mentioned, a clean surf out there at about 4 to 8 feet. We do have still once again a very high rip current risk. Be aware of that again tomorrow. Now the burn time is back down to about 10 to 15 minutes, and that's because we will have a lot more sunshine tomorrow. So if you are headed out to the beaches, just keep in mind that rip current risk still high tomorrow. That surf at 4 to 8 feet. It's improving a little bit by Friday, still in the moderate category. Be mindful of that. Surf at 1 to 2 feet. The winds even lower headed into Saturday, so the rip current risk will once again be much lower, which is good because, Mike, it's turning hot, and I know people will want to be out at the beaches.
That's exactly right. People will be flocking to the beaches. They don't have to work tomorrow, or
3 minutes.
Students that don't have to go back to school yet. Look at these temperatures from tomorrow through Friday, right on into your weekend, soaring well above average into the 90s, and not far from record high temperatures tomorrow, right through Friday into your weekend. Lots of sunshine. It'll be dry. It'll be a hot Jags kickoff Sunday afternoon. Just isolated to widely scattered afternoon storms then for the early and middle part of next week. ActionNewsJax.com. You can download for free the First Alert weather app. Check out my tweets at Mike First Alert and Facebook fan page.
The hurricane hunter Kermit is back in his hangar in Lakeland, Florida, getting ready for its next flight into the storm.
You think of NASA as a space agency, of course, but their work helps meteorologists like Chief Mike Bursch on the ground. These images of Hurricane Dorian from NASA's Tempest D satellite help measure and forecast the storm's effects. Action News Jack's Elizabeth Pace is in Davis Shores, where flooding receding, but there is still a lot of water.
Pack on one.
It's starting to improve out here on this part of Davis Shores. You can see now the water is going down to my ankles.
Might not see you until after 6:30.
Even coming up to my hips. We saw people out here canoeing and on surfboards. They're in good spirits out here, but it can be very dangerous
scripted stories,
if you don't
and then
know how
we'll
to
probably
handle
have
the
a little bit of
situation.
pad.
Behind us, we can see some stand-on-scene police
up
officers. Watch how slowly they're driving through this water. They say they're trying not to make any waves because that water pushes up onto people's property. A bit over here to the left, we can see water still creeping into the grass over here. And I mean, it's just a few yards away from their front doors. So I know neighbors are getting really nervous about the cars that are rushing through this area. If you're in a high car like a Jeep or truck, just make sure you're taking it slow. But any low, smaller cars, you got to be really careful about flooding in this area. I know we're in a bigger van over here, and even we have to watch where we're driving in this. When we start to walk, it is still a little bit harder to walk out here right now. Like I said, the flooding is still up to my ankles. So if you just plan on coming out here right now, just be careful and make sure you're aware of the standing water. Reporting in Davis Shores, Elizabeth Pace, 47 Fox 30, Action News Jax.
Jax Beach.
A live look now at the waves, still slamming against the Jax Beach pier. Things have calmed down significantly, though, over the last few hours as the storm continues to make its trek north.
Picture now in St. Mary's in Camden County, Georgia. A big tree limb fell down on Osborne Street. The response team was there quickly and cleared the street. People still urging folks to stay home, though evacuation orders are being lifted. Storm surge can exert a lot of force. The First Alert Storm Tracker drove past the floating porta potty in Davis Shores. That's unpleasant. CBS Evening News is next on CBS 47.
Our special coverage of Hurricane Dorian continues now on Fox 30 at 6:30.
2, 1, and it's yours.